kids get out. We don't have sidewalks.
Right.
And they cannot play in the streets. They have no place to play, to ride their bikes, and we have a problem.
So there's a lot of people not obeying the speed limit, obviously, in there.
Especially on Maryville Lane. My parents been there 30 years.
Okay.
And I'm back home with my parents, and the speeders are crazy. My sister has screamed, and we've all screamed at them.
Have y'all called law enforcement, reference that? Okay, I was just curious because this is my first I've heard of it, so, but I promise you I will address that part of it. Yes, sir.
To carry on with what she said, when I moved in 16 years ago, I asked the county for a speed bump at the connection where Maryville Circle intersection intervenes with Maryville Lane.
Right, right.
There's a T intersection there. And I was told that it was a county problem, and they would put up speed number counting things.
Right, Department of Transportation would address that.
And they put those things down on the street, and nothing ever came of it. But if it was a three-way stop, it would certainly make that racetrack on Maryville Lane a little less, because from either end, what they see when they get there, they just speed. They're looking, and they go 3/4 of the way, and then they slam on the brakes to brake either into Cleveland or into Broadway.
Well, that'll make it an easy traffic enforcement operation for us. Reference the stop sign part of it. That won't be a problem. And if we can show that there is a problem, you can, as community members in that community, can use that with Department of Transportation. Show that there is an issue. I don't know what kind of accidents, if you've had fatalities coming out on Cleveland. I'm not sure.
We've had children hit.
My son was hit personally by a car.
We've had children.
Was it on Cleveland or?
Yeah, right on Marvell Lane.
On Marvell.
And they hit him, and he flew. I mean, like he was on his little bike, barely in the road, and he lined up on the other side. 3 years old.
Okay, excuse me. Tom, is there anything that city code enforcement can do in this area, or that's completely left to
We have no
county?
jurisdiction.
Okay, we have no jurisdiction.
Okay, that's fine. We will definitely address it, and like I said, I want to give you guys my card so we can get into it deeper, after the meeting, at another, because I'm working the rest of the week. I'll be glad to meet you tomorrow. If you want to meet with me personally, just call me. I'll come over there and meet with you.
Also,
and you can show me.
I'm more concerned about patrolling too, because the other night we had someone in our backyard. I did call the police because I saw the person. It took forever. I have a pit bull and a Pekingese. I set my dog on him to get him off. It took forever for the police to come out. And my fear is my dad's had several more strokes. He's older. He can barely speak. And my mom, of course, is getting older too.
Right.
And the fear.
Just to let you know how it's set up, just so you know why there probably is a gap in the response time. That zone is primarily way up towards the Dunbar-Ortez area. We do patrol up on Unity, Broadway. We do that. I mean, we do that routinely, day and night. However, you might call on a specific time when somebody's up in town, and it probably takes 10 minutes of driving time or 15 minutes, and it's not because we're not addressing your call.
No, I understand that.
It's just it's taken that, and we do answer calls on priority. There might be something really urgent taking place at that particular minute, but our dispatchers will tell you if that's the case. You just have to ask what's the delay. We'll try to improve that for you. I promise you. We'll address
I
all
know you
those
got other
issues.
stuff going on, but when you see someone in your backyard, I'm like, forget it.
Oh yeah, no. And then you can also call the sheriff's office, and I'll give you the actual phone number for our central district, which you're out of, and you can request area checks. And we do them for 2-week intervals. You can request it day and night, and when deputies not on calls, we know to go around that particular area, walk around it if that's what you request, check the area, make sure there's no vagrants hanging out. We do them for 2-week intervals. At the end of the 2 weeks, call again, we'll do it again. Okay, we'll just keep it up for you.
Gentleman here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name's Robert Gardner, and I'm the city's community development director. If there is more than one family living in a property that's zoned for single family, then that's a zoning violation, but that rests with the county, if it's in county land.
The only reason I know about county code enforcement, I just know a little bit, not a lot, is because I did community policing in Pine Manor for almost 10 years. And they had a contracted county code enforcement officer. So I worked hand in hand with him. And when they had Spanish clientele, usually, they would pack them in because they'd be working folks, and they'd have 8, 9, 10 people in a 2-bedroom place. County couldn't do anything about it. And that's just through my experience. I'm not saying they can't actually do something about it. I just knew the officer that worked with me said there was nothing he could do. So unless something's changed, I don't know.
It's difficult to prove the
Right.
two different families, if two families are in fact living in one single-family dwelling, but it's not impossible, but that's a
Correct.
county responsibility.
The problem with what they're saying is this area right here, Pine Manor, is on city sewage. This area here is all on well, or on septic tanks.
Mhm.
And these houses are designed for single-family dwellings.
Oh, and I realize they back
And
up
when,
and
and
everything
when
else.
you got 5 families living in a house, their two little hooker tanks that are supposed to be for a family of 4 can't handle it. And now you have raw sewage that is blowing out of the ground, and it's causing a health hazard.
Oh, I can understand that.
So, I mean, that's where a lot of these people's dilemmas are coming from.
Has anybody tried to address the health department reference that part of it?
No.
I'm just curious, because I don't know. I'm just thinking if it is a
Well,
health issue, then we should contact.
I'm just
health.
finding out
Oh,
about
yeah.
over at, Marvell
That
area
is a
and the
good
problems
issue.
that they're
That is.
having, but that's an area that you can check with, and that's the health.
But I learn
department
every
to
day.
find
I
out.
don't know everything. I learn just from experience, and if I don't know it, I will find out the
We have
answers and how to do
we
it.
have one house across from where I live that at one time, there was 12 people living in this house on one little septic tank. And and there's almost that man still living there.
Well, reference Maryville Circle and Lane, I do want to give my cards out to those folks. So if anybody's available tomorrow, I'm free all day tomorrow. I'm free through Friday. Just call me. I'll come over in 5 or 10 minutes, and
Okay.
and we can sit there. We can address the problems. I'll document them, and we'll go to work on some of those issues.
Appreciate that.
And you can also pick up one of them orange cards there. They should have a county code enforcement number on it that you can
I'll
call.
actually find out who the exact county code enforcement officer for that area is also by tomorrow. And she's correct, and you can call that, but I'll actually get the exact number. So when you do have county code enforcement, I don't know if they're a little bit different than the city, but they only work on complaints. They're not gonna go around and look for stuff. If they get a complaint, they'll address it. I'm just saying, that's how big the county is and how few county workers they have when it comes to code enforcement. So when they do have those problems, call them and they will be addressed.
I'll have to say, county code enforcement was rapid on my request that an abandoned house be given priority, and it was tagged and redlined and whatever else that they talk about when they, declared, because it was abandoned and open, and they put a red tag on it.
Well, those are the worst places in a neighborhood because not only is it abandoned, it's a house for prostitutes, it's a house for theft, drugs, everything else. Nothing non-criminal goes on in an abandoned house, that's for sure. Yes, sir.
Along the lines that they're talking about, I suggested, why can't they put a police tape around the property? That way, anybody who's on that property is in violation.
Well, that's a great idea, but what we would do on something like that, on that type of property, we would contact whoever the owner is. And we would get the owner to say he doesn't want anybody on that property, and he'd sign a complaint, an affidavit saying, if we catch anybody on that property, we can trespass them from that property. We can't put a tape around because people would be curious. They wouldn't know what that's about. They
Like
think
a
a
murder.
homicide happened. I mean, it would probably really concern a lot of people.
It blows down the street.
Right. So we'd have more calls than. But I promise I will take care of those issues. Yes,
So
ma'am.
if, just adjoining my yard at the back, there's a vacant house. That may be the one you're speaking of.
No, that's not the one.
No,
This is the
I
two
was
horse
gonna say,
value.
The one that's picking
It's
up.
gotten really, really bad
Oh, is that the
looking.
one you're talking about?
Has the code enforcement ever been out there?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is that who I should call?
Which
Well,
house is it?
If I'm going to give you my number, and if everybody wants, just call me tomorrow. I come on at 7. I'll answer the phone. Just give me those addresses. I will personally visit it. I will call a code enforcement officer. I'll have him come meet me there, and we'll address the issue. Whatever that issue is with that house, we'll address it. And like I said, it's not solved overnight, especially with the county. It takes a little bit of time, but I promise we'll work on it.
Well, it's right next door to where Ms. Peck was
Okay.
saying that she turned her dog loose the other night.
Okay.
I heard it too, like in
And I
2:30
promise
in the morning.
I'll get more familiar
And
with that area.
my dogs woke me up and I went out to look.
Okay.
But that's a place that's just looking for problems.
And it probably has them. Probably does.
Anyone in this side still have a question? Yes, ma'am.
We're kind of new in the neighborhood. We moved in October renting a nice house, but we've noticed that this last couple of months there seems to be somebody that keeps walking through the neighborhood. Kind of, we think that they're coming through at night, and we're wondering if anybody else is having, that kind of I have neighbors on either side of us that, one is a widow and the other one is, you know, on her own a lot. And at one point, whoever it was removed part of their fencing. They have like wood fencing, and they removed part of it, and they found it in our yard. And, you know, and they must be doing it during the night, because when we get up, it's like that.
Where you located
Which
at?
street?
Maravilla Circle, you know, I live right behind you. And, you know, Betty Spence.
Could be going right to
There
that
was
abandoned
like
house.
3 or 4 nights in a row when we get up in the morning and the fence was moved. And someone had been in there, in the fence.
Can I remind y'all to state your names because we're
Oh,
taking
okay.
down names
I'm
for
sorry,
minutes.
I was
That's
late, I
all
had to
right.
deal with something and got in late, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'm Janice McGill and I live at Maravilla Circle,
What's your address on there, Bill?
2029. And we have a fence around the backyard, but there's, you know, the gate's not locked so that the utility guy can get in and out, you know. But we've noticed somebody is definitely climbing the fences and going around. So I just wondered if anybody else was having the same problem.
Well, that area it definitely deserves some increased patrols. Because like I said, I personally didn't know there was these issues were taking place there. And probably a lot of our patrol officers don't. But they will after tonight. I promise they will, because
Okay.
I just called them in to sit in with us. Ma'am, can I get your address so I know primarily where that abandoned
Yes,
place
I'm
is?
at 2049 Maravilla Circle.
And this is behind you, correct? That this abandoned house?
Our address is 2162, so I'm sure it's 2164. It's right next to us, like yours.
Oh, okay.
So it's probably 2164.
On the lane.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know, this is Officer Black. He works Dunbar with me also, so the issues that we're talking about, I'll relay to him, and he'll also be helping us out with the problems.
Anyone else on this? Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jeff George, and I'm running for Congress. And my office happens to be in this neighborhood, so I'm here mainly as a conservative citizen with the rest of you to hear what you have to say. You might notice Damien up here is videotaping the meeting. Basically, everything that I do, we go out and we videotape, and the reason we're videotaping this is because we just want to show everybody a citizen's eye view of what's going on here in the district.
I have one question for the people in the Unity area and the Hunter. Reference code enforcement issues. How do you guys perceive that at this point? How is it going?
In the city, it's been going really good.
I mean, in the county part, which is that the part of the dirt
The
road.
dirt road, the stepped up patrol has helped a lot. There's
What
still,
about, what about, I mean, we've been doing it hitting as hard as we can with patrol, but I mean the code enforcement. 'Cause I noticed some of these houses are supposed to be boarded up and they haven't been boarded
No,
up
they're
yet.
not boarded up and there's windows.
And I need to find out about that.
Well, the windows is broke out of, and I've actually went into a couple of houses just to check it out and stuff.
Okay.
And you can tell that people are still going in there and it's being used. I mean, the place is just trashed on the inside.
Just so you know, the registered owners of those, also, he's the same person that owns the one that's right on the corner next to the church here, right at the end of Unity. That's abandoned. That guy, he's on the tax deed, is the same guy that owns these over here.
Really?
That's what we found out.
Okay, and is he around here?
He is, but he's not answering anything. So there is big liens. I think there's $250 a day liens assessed to all those properties, which it's not going to matter because he's not going to pay them. And it's probably going to be foreclosed
Well,
on
I
anyway.
did invite the county code enforcement here to this meeting, but obviously he didn't show up.
If I can give you my card and you want somebody from there, I can guarantee you I can call. I've got several people that I contact every day, and they'll be glad to come as long as they get the okay from their supervisor to attend. Because lately, with budget cuts, they haven't been able to attend a lot of after-hour type
Well,
stuff.
I mail all of you guys.
And I know you do, and I appreciate it. But those are going to be addressed. They're
Okay.
still being addressed, I should say.
Yeah, and there still is a problem with the one duplex right there on the corner of Hunter Street and the alley. That's the main place at this point, other than the business that's on the alley with
Right.
the music and stuff.
We know who
We
that
still
gentleman is, and we're constantly there. It's making it rough when the landlords don't cooperate. It's being very
Exactly.
difficult to get them out of there.
Well, I've talked to the gentleman at the duplex and stuff, and seems to be polite and everything, but I still know that he's drawing in a lot of the traffic.
He's been arrested for armed robbery. He's been arrested for he's a bad guy.
I think he gets nervous when I come around, because I usually go around with my dog and stuff, checking out the neighborhood and stuff, and he comes out and he talks to me, telling me he wants to be on American Idol, and he'll start singing and carrying on.
Trying to be our buddy.
He's a different character.
Is he singing Bad Boy?
Yeah, right? Not yet.
I'll from the Golden Show.
Here, anyone else on the, okay. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Brown, is it?
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
I'm having a lot of problems with my neighbor. First of all, Thursday, I was out there helping my husband
They're gonna need your address.
at 2149 Unity,
Oh, this is on the other side. Do you live right on the corner?
on the corner.
Okay. I remember you from one of the meetings. That's what I
Right.
remember.
Well, anyway, you know how I keep my lawn.
Yeah.
I'm out there painting. So he came home, and I suppose he thought that we was putting up new lights. But I just painted and cleaned them real good. So he stood over behind his car and was just looking. So we had church, Vocation Bible School at church. So he had some guys come on his lawn. So I told my husband, I said, I have a funny feeling that something gonna happen. He mowed about this much of my lawn and scraped it to the earth,
Scalped it.
scalped it.
Yeah.
So the next day when we got up, my husband went out there. He went so close to the well. I said, check the well. So we called, officers are out, and they tried to talk to him, and I guess he kind of ticked them off a little bit. They waved and jumped in their car and left. So we called my husband. They told us to stake it off again, so he wouldn't come on my side.
In other words, knowing where your property line is.
Right.
Okay.
Well, see, it's still there.
Okay.
He very rude and vicious.
So what he's doing is trespassing on your property.
He was trying to take it.
Okay.
So we did that. He goes out there when it's dark. He cut all of his lights off and go out there and move everything. So we had the officer come back about 3 o'clock that Saturday morning, Sunday morning really. And he told my husband, he said, what to do is put up some vines or something. But we took pictures of everything we did. So my husband was going to try to talk to him. So that Monday when he got off from work, my husband said, young man, I need to talk to you. He said, I'm not talking to you. He said, you own that property? Yes, I own it. I'm not talking to you. I have else not to say to you. And so the cops had told my husband, said, if you get rude, just call us. So my husband went in there, and the time he turned his back, he said, F you. So I told my husband, I said, I done told you, he's the type person, he had like he has a problem. But
Yeah,
what it
I
is,
agree.
we don't know. We don't bother no one. We've been living there for about 17 or 18 years. We don't bother no one. We just try to keep everything up.
How has it been referenced to the property part of it? The property line. Has he still been
know.
messing with you?
He know.
Okay.
Because when he bought that property, they put red flags up. He know.
Okay.
He just being mean and rude. And so I went to my attorney that I've been had for years, and he told me he didn't do that no more, so he recommended me to someone else. Because if he keep on, I hate to slap a lawsuit on him, but I'm going to have to.
See, what law enforcement does, if you have a problem with him, reference threatening or anything like that, that's when you call us, and we'll definitely come there. When it comes to property disputes, it's very hard for us to get involved.
I know.
We are there definitely to help you
Yes.
and assist you, but when it comes to the property part of it, we're kind of within a bind, but you're definitely right on track when you contacted an attorney.
Oh,
especially
yes.
reference to, the lawsuit and stuff like that. But don't hesitate to call us if you have a problem where he's threatening you or he's causing any problems for you and your family. Call us and we'll try to assist you the best we can.
Well, that's why we've been calling so much, because, we don't want no confusion.
I
Why?
understand.
And when he first moved in there, he told my husband, I want my glaze to look like your glaze. He talking about grass,
Sure, sure.
And after that, he just, I don't know
Yeah.
what happened.
Well, continue calling us when you do have
Oh,
problems.
we
That's all I can tell
will.
you.
We will. Don't
And-
worry.
And let us, every time we're out there, we'll assess the situation, and if we can do something different, then of course we're gonna do something
And
different.
one thing I can say, when I call, you all come right on out. I have no problem.
That's good to hear.
You all come right on out, and they, and they tell us, we pass by all the time. You keep a nice lawn. What is this problem? We don't know.
We have been trying to pay a little bit more special attention to your street, because like I said, I remember 3 months ago we came and we were kind of neglecting it, because I didn't think there was a problem down there. I'll be honest with you. You look down there, it looks like just a cul-de-sac, boom, we're done. But then you told me some of the issues that you've had down there, and since then we've actually had some issues. We've had some attempted break-in, we've had domestic issues down there, so we've been down there quite a bit in the last couple months.
Well, you know what? Is the prostitute is coming back here too since school been out.
Because they do cut right through the back over there.
Yes.
Because one of the gentlemen told us
Yes.
that.
So,
So we're gonna pay, definitely more attention to that area also.
okay.
Anyone else on the side? Mr. Mitchell, so, would you like to come up?
Yeah.
Or stand?
Did you have your
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Gardner?
I'm just saying.
Do I have to stay here or keep going?
We want you to stay.
Yeah, my name is Robert Gardner. I'm the city's community development director, and I know that we've been working with the county in identifying areas where the city would like to annex additional land. And in some of our maps, this neighborhood is definitely one of those areas. And all I can say is we're going to try as best we can according to the law to make it happen. I'm not sure exactly what that entails, but I have a person back at community development that just does annexation, so it's something for y'all to consider at some point.
What changes would you envision being made if you do annex this?
Well, yeah, I can tell you that we do enhance code enforcement is one thing. I can't tell you all the other things that would or would not happen to your neighborhood as a result of the annexation, but usually most of them are positive. Sometimes you get into extra fees and so forth, or more fees than you're used to paying. But those are things of that nature. I don't know if there's sewer that's available, whether it's city or county for those who are on septic. But then there's an issue, of affordability for hooking up, and sometimes city utility requirements are different than county, and sometimes if you have a septic, when you come in through an annexation, you have to hook up to sewer. So there's a lot of issues to consider.
But the law enforcement then would be done by the city, so
Oh yeah.
would it maybe be quicker response time then, or?
I think it'll be a lot quicker. I mean, if you look at this neighborhood on a map, and unfortunately I didn't bring a map with me, but what we have here is what we call an enclave, and it's basically an island of a different jurisdiction or municipality within another one. And I mean, we're all human here, so it's probably easier to overlook a situation like this than it is when you're just completely in a city or completely in a county. I think it's just the nature of the thing, but that's not an excuse for not responding to direct phone calls by any means. But in terms of sorting everything out and prioritizing workloads, that's got to be a consideration.
I do know that when we was talking to people, when we was getting the people on Marbella to come and Marbella Circle, their main concern was that the annex about it is they're afraid that their taxes is going to go higher. But talking with Miss Brown and a few other people, actually they pay more taxes than I do. I'm in the city and I got a pretty good, large area myself, and she pays
You got
more.
a good deal.
She pays more taxes.
We'll have you take vacations around.
You're gonna be assessed tomorrow.
I've already been.
Yes,
I've already been. I mean, I draw permits and stuff, so I'm up to date on everything. So I know that my taxes is right and stuff. But
Right. And typically what we do is, before an annexation can be, locked in stone, is we do a study of the area. We do a study of the county, our counterparts in the county, they also do theirs, and then you know, we get together and have neighborhood meetings and so forth to discuss the issues, the pros and the cons. So.
But I do know that it being like it is a city and county jurisdiction like it is, it's stopping like city people from getting city sewer because the county don't you know, the city don't want to come in and do the sewer for county because, you know, it's be
Yeah,
doing
you
their
got to
job.
keep those systems separate, and each of those systems require bond funding, its own unique bond funding. So it's not like you can mix up customers
Exactly.
and billings.